All right, after a week off, we're back here, keeping up with West End softball. And Coach, you got some compadres here with you today. You brought your staff in to interview, but you don't mind, Coach, at this time interview who you got with you today.
Okay, this is Coach Franklin and Coach Phelps, and they both. He played for me years ago. That's telling my age and his too, and she also played for me, so they know what I expect.
That's
Pretty good transition.
Anytime in sports, to me, one of the biggest things is trust, and it goes both ways. Coach, I'll start with you. Having people that's been through your program, people you've seen their character, how they carry themselves, conduct themselves. How easy as a transition was that to bring them on staff?
It was very easy. My uncle was, that was years ago. As I said, he was a good leader. He kind of led by example more so than vocal, but very responsible kid. Destiny, when she played, she was the mom of the team, kept everybody in line, and she still does that now. She keeps them headed in the right direction.
Absolutely. And each one of you guys, speak on that a little bit, being able to come through a program that you already know, Coach. You guys, trust is a two-way street. So obviously you guys trusted him. Could you guys speak on that and how easy a transition it was for you to join the staff?
Yeah, like Coach Watkins touched on, I think it was around 98, 99, got into high school and baseball coach at the time. And a lot of respect for Coach Watkins. I've known him, most of my life, pretty much all my life, family-wise. So that respect that I had for him and growing up under, those 6 years that I was in ball here, sort of, gained that respect. And then my oldest one's in the 9th grade this year, so 2 years ago, reached out and had the opportunity to come back, and I jumped for joy, being back at the program that I was in, and getting to come back and coach here. That was big, and I know along the lines of what he wanted, and philosophies wise and mechanics and fundamentals, being under him, easy to come back in and try to show these girls. A lot of these girls back senior wise. I had these kids when they was 8, 9, 10 years old. So, being, Coach Watkins, they respect him, tremendously, and so it was fun to come back and, these girls that's fixing to get out of here, having them at 8 years old and then now at 15, 16 years old. It's been a blessing.
Awesome.
I had 4 years with Coach Watkins. I transferred in from Sardis at the end of my 8th grade year, so I started my freshman year here. It was just good. When I knew I was coming back here to teach, I was like, if you got a spot coaching, I want it. Like, I'm all here. So it's easy to fall into a program where you already know his rules, his expectations. It's just easy I know what he expects out of me, and as Coach Franklin, we played for him. We know what he wants the girls to do. We know what he expects out of them, and it's just easy to follow into his footsteps and just lead them that way.
Was there a point in you guys' playing career or some of the things you obviously picked up from Coach and maybe even other coaches where you were like, I think I want to teach this game myself. I think I want to become a coach?
I'm very competitive, so and Coach
She'll fight you.
I wouldn't want to deny it.
That's awesome.
And I think all the girls they're like, Coach Wells is very competitive, like she's all for it. It's not that I like aggressiveness, but I want the grit. I want you to compete. I want you to want it, And so that's how he was with us. When I came back last year, I was like, man, you got a lot softer since I played. I've done that. And then he's like, that just comes with age. So now I'm just trying to
Right.
He's still on them a lot, but I'm just like, you got a little bit softer.
Eased off the throttle.
Yes.
They probably wouldn't agree with you after last night.
No, they wouldn't.
Yeah.
Same question for you.
So, like I said, it goes back to the respect and stuff. Coming in, I wondered how these kids would take me being away from them maybe so long. But like I said, Watkins, they respect him, and so that's a big thing. I come in and he had them on the right track, and then we know what he's taught us, and then us going forward, teaching what he's been teaching on even before in 19 years or so here. So
Coach, having these two around you and having a group of talented young ladies like you do, I guess it's your job, so to speak, to be the facilitator of everything. You know you got good coaches, staff. You know you got the talent there, but we talked off the camera. Sometimes even that don't even translate into wins, and y'all have had some recently that you've been frustrated with. Just how hard is it? And I think all three of you guys can speak on this to get kids today dialed in to what you need them to do because there's so many distractions.
Yeah, that's the key word I was about to mention. Distractions nowadays are far greater than, of course, when I played. And you know, we're all three like stacked. You know, I'm the old guy here, and he's mid. And she hadn't been out of school.
10 years.
Yeah, 10 years. But there's a lot more distractions now. In my opinion, I probably don't need to say that, but kids are not raised anymore like we used to be.
Yeah.
I think they get away with a lot more,
Right.
and of course they have a lot more freedom, a whole lot more opportunities. It can be tough at times.
It's challenging. It absolutely is. What's you guys' thoughts on that?
As far as distractions go.
Distractions and how hard is it to get kids to dial in because they have to be
Yeah.
committed. Y'all have all the talent in the world,
Yeah.
but to win it all, they're gonna have to be dialed in. Everybody on the same page, and
Yeah.
you know.
Seeing, because I have the girls' fourth period for workouts, so seeing them, just hearing their talk, it gets distracted in the weight room, it gets distracted in the gym when we're doing body weight, and I have to get after them sometimes. I don't like raising my voice at you, but I will if it's what gets your attention. And so like they'll get off loop, and you just have to nip it in the bud kind of, and that's how I am, and I feel like that's how they are too. We just, whatever's brought up, we nip it in the bud, and that's the end of it. We don't hear about it again.
Just meet it head on.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
yeah.
Same question, Coach. Just what's your thoughts on it, and how do you approach that?
Yeah, you know, we since spring break, we've been in the tournament. We've had county tournaments. You know, it was distractions, maybe the night before county. And, you know, we could tell when we left here that Saturday morning, you know, the kids they wasn't locked in. Either we come in and we gave them breakfast and we hit around, you know, we could tell that there was still something off. And so, you know, we fell in county by one, give them a little break off, and then we come back and then had a tournament this past weekend in Rainsville. And, you know, there was times that we showed up and we made it through part of the gold bracket, and then we faced Pisgah, and us two in the top part of North Alabama, like we talked about earlier. You know, we're gonna meet each other at regionals, and so you know those kids flipped a switch. You know, they might have been a distraction that we had to. You know, we got beat Friday night and come back in here. The same thing Saturday, took some BP, and Saturday those kids was locked in. You know, we just got done 12 hours earlier playing, and you know, gotten beat, but then they come back in Saturday, and then they can lock in, and then we go and we played some of the best ball Saturday, I think, at times, and then we face Pisgah, and then we go through a tiebreaker, and then come back and beat them, and then we go play, you know, Springville, and then sort of maybe distractions of how big, this is Springville, and then sort of maybe that got, you know, going from a high, we hit a low pretty quick when we played Springville. So it's just how the girls is feeling and who we've got. But you know, when they want to, they can block it out. But like I said, going from an hour after beating Pisgah to getting, you know, beat by Springville was, you know, just a low. But we had a good weekend.
It's highs of highs and lows of lows, all within a small amount of time there.
Right.
Coach, I guess the ultimate question is, you want them to be peaking heading down this stretch here. You've played your tournaments, you played your non-area games that prepared you for this. I mean, you started your season off with one of those, and that's carried on throughout. What do you think it's going to take to get these girls dialed in down this stretch? Because we're getting to that point now where it's really about to seriously start mattering.
Yeah. When we got spring break, I gave them time off, gave them 4 or 5 days off, and when we came back, you know, we had a talk with them. Said, hey, it's time. Put your foot on the gas. You know, 3 or 4 weeks left, and this is an important time. So but mainly, so we only have one game this week. So the rest of the week, we're going back to fundamentals, because that really gets us in trouble. It got us in trouble last night at Sand Rock a little bit, and I had to call timeout in the second inning. And
Bring everybody in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you want to
I
be
was-
good Coach Watkins.
I was real nice to
Brought
them.
back some old memories.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was real nice to them and told them we needed to play better.
I love it.
But sometimes you have to do that. I mean, even when I coached baseball years ago, kids are kids, and they're going to do what you let them get away with. You let them show up and lollygag around, that's what they're going to do. But hopefully we're getting them to understand that we expect high expectations from them every time we step on the field.
But being in I'd like to hear all three of you guys' opinion on this. Being in a 2A school, you have to share athletes. They don't get time off, really, especially if they're 3 sports, sometimes 4 sport athletes, counting track and all this other stuff. But giving them those 5 days off after spring break or during spring break probably was a good thing for their bodies. Can y'all all speak on that, and what did y'all see coming out of that?
Yeah, I mean, that was my whole intention, because you're correct. I mean, just about everybody on our team plays multiple sports, and I don't know. Sometimes they just need to rest, clear their mind, let them do what they want to, be kids. Because you're right. They stay consumed with something year round. As soon as school's out, we're give them a week or 2 off, and then we're right back in the weight room just on the workout. So, yeah, to be an athlete at a small school, and we can't be good here if we don't
Share.
use our athletes in every sport. It's not like you can have this group of girls that plays volleyball and this group of girls that plays soccer. It can't work like that.
Yeah. Back in January, I believe we had 4 varsity kids here that we started off practice with. And so, we had 2 pitchers working, we had an outfielder working, and I don't know if we didn't have any infielders. So we started off with 4 in January, and then by the time the basketball season got done, it ran a little bit later. Those kids come in the next week, and we started, and then that same week, we was traveling to Hewitt to play. So those kids had 4 or 5 days of practice. And just, some of them might not have picked up a bat since last night. So that was hard in itself. So this spring break allowed them to maybe have some time off, not think about it, and maybe regroup. And then, like I said, came in refreshed on Friday, and then had a really good day Saturday. And then last night after the chewing, I think they come together and beat Sand Rock 10-2. So those 2 runs was off of 2 errors in the second inning that they got theirs from. So, like I said, now would be the time that we need to go forward and get these next 2 days, Thursday and Friday, fundamentals and mechanics, because we play 5 days next week. So it's gonna be rough next week. So we're gonna have to get ready and go now.
We're Monday, right?
Yeah.
Man, what's your thoughts on that? Because you are a female athlete, and I'm sure you
Yeah.
play multiple sports
I
here
was
yourself.
sport here.
Yeah.
This year, our basketball program, one area, so they advanced on. We didn't do that when I played, so I can't imagine going that long into it. Was into February, right?
Yeah.
They had a really good season this year. They went on to February, like Coach Franklin said, they had 4 days and came at it. So I think that the 4 or 5 days off during spring break, I think it benefited them whether they slept or they just got to, be a kid, just do whatever for one day besides having to be in the weight room or in the field. I'm hoping it cleared their minds and they're ready to come back tomorrow and hit it hard and start turning the wheels and clicking the gears to win state this year.
Coach, 5 games next week.
Yeah,
That's
we're pretty full.
yeah. Talk about that though. It's a good time to have that because you can work through some kinks.
Well, we knew that going into spring break. I mean, and that was part of the reason for the rest, because this week's a slow week, but starting next week, it's here. It's a time of the year where you've got to, if you're gonna make a run, I mean, it's time to turn it up a notch.
Absolutely. Before I shut it down, just final thoughts from any one of you guys want to speak up on any matters, team related.
You know, they. I guess next week we'll have a big bearing on to me. I'm looking forward to next week. I was kind of concerned about yesterday. We showed up and we played well, other than one inning, and hit the ball well. So you know, next week I think we've got Brewer, Blanco.
Got area at Cleveland, and then
Yeah.
Friday, Saturday.
Saturday we're in a tournament at Oxford Lakes, and then the next week I think we got
Locust Ford.
Locust Fort and Cedar Bluff, and then we've got the following weekend we're playing in a tournament at Sand Mountain Park, and you know, then it's area time. It's time for area playoffs.
Ultimately, you want to be heading back to Sand Mountain Park, so that's a good time to
Yeah,
schedule
yeah.
a tournament there.
Yeah.
You get the lay of the land.
Yeah, and that's one reason we played at Arab. You know, they got a turf field. We got a turf field. Rangeville, you know, that's the first time I've ever been up there. That's a nice park.
Nice little park, man. Had to see y'all play Glencoe there. That was, I really enjoyed that. Yeah, it's a very similar layout to what you're going to be at Sand Mountain.
Right.
So yeah. Well, guys, I appreciate you guys sitting in. Been a very good interview. I enjoy hearing you guys. It's always awesome to see player-coach combo, then come back and coach, and the respect and trust, because those are two things that you don't see in sports a lot of days. Everybody's out cutthroat, and I've even seen, you know, coaches feel like players has cut their throat, and I've seen players feel like coaches has cut their throat. So it's good to see a story like this one. So appreciate you guys sitting in with us, and thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you for